This is the worst time to be building up debt, especially if you're not going to be paying for these expenses once they're due. Or if you just plan on just making the minimum payments, I wouldn't be doing that. That is the painful situation that you're probably going to be putting yourself in because interest rates are going to continue to go up and, well, so will the price of everything else that is being financed. You know what? Comment down below a necessity that you buy regularly, but you've had to either lessen your purchase or just cut them out altogether because it's now too expensive for your wallet. The housing market is now due for a crash, and economists are warning that home prices are set to plunge soon. Now, speaking of warnings, reports are showing that cattle, specifically bred for meat sales, have gone down by so much at the start of 2023 that it's now at the lowest level since 1962, pushing further the fear of food shortages around the country. Now, it's not just food that we're running out of. We're also running out of financial freedom as bankruptcies are now spiking across the nation. But hey, the stock market continues to make good strides, right? But at the same time, we're seeing companies like Amazon on the stock market, they're holding off on their expenses. The question is why? Now, we're seeing more layoffs too. How is that possible if the economy was so strong? And why are more Americans now counting on their tax refunds to save them through this incredibly tough economic dilemma? And when it comes to a dilemma, one that could be coming to us very soon is the threat of a widespread power shortage. Now, that doesn't sound too good for electric vehicles. Now, before I continue, please take a second, smash the like button for the video. It absolutely helps out with the YouTube algorithm. And if you're in need of your daily dose of the truth when it comes to the state of our economy, global happenings, Social Security, SSI, SSDI, the housing market, the stock market, and everything crazy that's going on in Washington, D.C. that affects our lives, our families, and our bank accounts, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And for the best way to invest in gold, make sure to hit the link in the description down below of this video. So guys, the threat of losing power in our homes is very real. I mean, we've seen plenty of grids being sabotaged across the country, some leaving thousands upon thousands of Americans in the dark, just straight up blackouts for days on end. The problem now is that some existing power plants are being projected to retire at a faster pace when we compare them to the installation of new units. And since the government is focused on pushing this renewable energy project down our throats, it is possible that we face widespread power shortages sooner rather than later. In a recent report from the power transmission company PJM Interconnection, it shows that 40 gigawatts of existing power generation may be retired by the year 2030, which accounts for around 21% of the current installed capacity. Now, at the same time, 290 gigawatts worth of new power supply wants to connect to their grid. But the problem is that 94% of that power supply is made up of renewable energy projects that they say only have a completion rate of 5%. With PJM covering 13 eastern states and the District of Columbia, the company fears that shortages will be inevitable. And since we're already talking about shortages, we may be eating a lot less beef in the future as the size of our national cattle herd continues to go down. As of the first day of 2023, the head inventory for cattle stands at 89 million, 3% lower than the total for 2022, the lowest since 2015, and with only 29.9 million cows bred for meat sales, it's now hit the lowest number that the United States Department of Agriculture has recorded since 1962. Man, 2023 continues to make records for all the wrong reasons. So if you thought beef was expensive, yeah, we could see a tremendous spike in the cost of hamburgers, beef, just steaks, you name it. James Mitchell of the University of Kentucky, he said this, quote, "There's a pretty substantial biological lag in the beef supply chain. What consumers experience at the grocery store is a product of what cattle producers have been going through a year or two ago. It takes about 2 years for a new calf to become the steak on your dinner plate," end quote. So it's going to take time, but we are going to feel the impact of this shortage down the line. One that I hope can still be averted as we're sure to see beef prices hit incredible highs. And from highs, let's talk about lows as more consumers are now relying on tax refunds to stay afloat in this economic storm that we continue to face. A new poll from Bankrate shows that 75% of adults in the country, they expect their tax refund this year to hopefully improve their financial situation. The issue with this is that the IRS has already warned us that we're probably getting smaller refunds in 2023. Ted Rossman, a senior analyst for Bankrate, he said that, quote, "It's reasonable to expect that many people will receive smaller refunds this year. That's mainly because many pandemic-related tax breaks have expired. IRS stimulus payments, the expanded child tax credit, and the expanded child and dependent care credit, just to name a few," end quote. Are any of you guys waiting on your IRS tax refunds to keep up with your expenses? And it's not uncommon in our country. In fact, total bankruptcy filings early this year has shot up 19% compared to last year. It's not just a common American who's filing for bankruptcy either, but just at the end of February, 39 large companies have already filed for bankruptcy, the fastest pace of filing since the immediate aftermath of the global financial crisis in 2009. You know it's bad when the economy continues to be compared to the crash crash of 2008. But it's evident that the companies are starting to pull even further back on expenses as they fear the worst for our economy. I mean, just look at Amazon. They just froze the construction of their second headquarters. But they're doing this as they're facing slowed revenue, even though they did already lay off more than 18,000 employees. Losing a job today could very well be one of the worst problems you can face, given that the cost of living remains ridiculously high. And having said that, I have to reiterate that this year could be the worst year to buy a house. Now, hear me out, guys. Mortgage rates are now over 7%, with an average rate on a 30-year fixed rate mortgage sitting at 7.1%. Now, doing the math, if you guys bought a $400,000 house today with a 20% down payment on a 30-year fixed rate loan, the monthly payment would be around $230 a month more compared to just this February. This includes the principal and interest. Now, comparing that to 2022, and it's about 50% higher in 2023. But given that interest rates have reached this point, it could lead to a deep global housing slide. That is, if you ask Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas. Just how bad can it get for housing prices? Well, they're predicting a price cut of at least 20%. And I think 20% still being generous to sellers. And this is why I've been telling you guys, really think about that home purchase. Opportunities are going to be coming up, but you may need patience and cash reserves to be able to take full advantage of them. But you got to wonder, how are you going to save more money in this economic landscape when we owe more on our credit cards than we have in savings? Well, one of the things I like to make sure I do is to not have any unexpected, very expensive home repairs popping up on me. So be sure to get your free home warranty quote. There's a link in the description down below, and never be caught off guard. It only takes like 15 seconds. But if you want to learn about solving financial troubles and strengthening your cash flow through multiple streams of income, something that can be achieved through side hustles or starting small businesses, or maybe you want to understand how to invest wisely in the stock market or in real estate to really have your money work for you, or maybe you're just looking to budget your money a little bit better in the best possible way, feel free to join us over in the Patreon community. You'll find a link in the description down below. The road to financial freedom is not easy, but it's also not impossible. I look forward to hearing from you guys soon, but before I go, please don't forget to drop a thumbs up for the video. Also subscribe for your daily dose of the truth. Appreciate you guys watching. Please be kind to one another, and I'll see you in the next one.